All right. Well, it looks like we have who we're going to have on today. Thanks everybody for joining. My name is Joe Miller, Director of Product here at Polarity. Today, going to cover the new release that we have coming out. Some exciting new features in the release, and then I'm also going to kind of talk about a few integrations that we have that have come out and kind of how we're utilizing those. So, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get things kicked off. Again, thanks for joining. Looking forward to sharing everything. Today, kind of like I said before, I'm going to do an overview of the new features. Going to demo everything, of course, to folks that are on, and then at the end, we'll do a Q&A. So if you have any questions, more than welcome to ask them at the end. So the new features that we have, some pretty exciting updates to our annotation framework. We've changed up kind of the look and feel of the annotations. How they look in the overlay window, how they look when you're annotating entities and things along those lines. We've also added the ability for editing and deleting from within the overlay window to try and really drive that action all just from the overlay window to make it easier on users. We have changed up a little bit on how to navigate to CSV uploads and where that occurs. We'll kind of walk through that really quickly. We've made some enhancements to the overlay window around the number of entities that can be inside of the overlay window and kind of the animations when data streams in to make it a little easier on the eyes, a little easier to process things. And then, of course, the really, really big thing I'm sure most people are here to see is our new mode within Polarity, which we are calling Polarity Focus mode. I'll get into that in a minute, but super excited about this new feature and really a new way to use Polarity and get data within Polarity. And then the integrations I'm going to highlight are all revolving around our custom Google search integrations. We've done a lot with the custom Google search, so I'll kind of cover a few of those different integrations, showcase some use cases there here in a bit. So with that, I'm just going to kind of jump over. To start, as I said, I'm going to showcase the annotation updates. So here is this a US search alert around a zero-day vulnerability. Kind of best practices when dealing with Russian foreign intelligence services. Here, I might want to annotate this CVE, so I have a record of it for later. I have a 0-day channel here. I'm going to annotate it, and you can immediately see that now, as a user, you can navigate to importing annotations just from the overlay or from the annotation window here. But the thing I really want to showcase is maybe I want to have and leave a note on all of this text that's in here about leveraging this 0-day vulnerability around this CVE, and I want to annotate that for later. So I can do that, just paste it in here. You can see immediately that we actually accept new lines in our annotation. So you can add new lines, carriage return, so it makes it feel more like a note you're taking and not just this tag that's associated with this entity. Now it's kind of more of a note. In conjunction with the entity. I can hit enter. You can see here that it has a completely different look and feel than it normally would. We've started to move away from the tagging capability with the annotations. So the annotations don't look like tags. They kind of actually look like a running note. You'll see the color of the channels in that off to the left. We'll cover that more here in a few seconds once I annotate this. But really excited about these new features here. I'm also just going to annotate this this domain, and you can see here that's separate annotation, again, separated out. It's kind of nice and cleanly now. So I'm just going to annotate that into this 0 days channel, and then just run our typical on-demand mode where I'm going to select CVE and have information come back. So you can see immediately here from within the overlay window, I'll kind of increase it here for folks so you can see it a little bit better. There is a complete separation from annotations and integrations. Now, integrations still have that tag kind of look and feel to it, so you can immediately know that anything is a tag is related to an integration. So you can see here I have a hit from recorded future. But now I also have that hit in kind of this nice new format, separated out. It really does kind of look and feel like a note associated with that CVE. So I can click in, I can get that whole note on it. You can, of course, add your comments, do everything you typically would. And then, of course, you have your recorded future data. You can navigate back and forth like you normally would in the overlay window. So really excited about this kind of new look and feel from our annotation window and being able to add those new lines and carriage returns in them to make it feel like that note. So now here, I clicked on the edit button. I'll kind of did it a little fast. So there's edit button for each annotation that's there. You can click the edit. You can go in. You can edit it. I could add this to it. I could add hello. I'm just going to add hello for no reason at all. You can save that. You can go back in, edit it. It updates in real time, and you can also delete. So if you did have an annotation that you that you have in the platform that you don't want anymore, or somebody had added, if you're a Polarity admin, somebody added that annotation they shouldn't have, you can very easily go in and delete that annotation now. So really excited about these new updates to the annotation framework. Really kind of help streamline, separate out the data from the integrations, kind of make it look and feel more like that note. And then with that, I'm going to kind of jump over here. I'm just going to put on stream mode and get a whole bunch of hits within Polarity to kind of showcase the new look and feel of the overlay window. So as you can see here, the data that's populating in is much cleaner. It's much easier on the eyes since it doesn't kind of populate and then keep refreshing itself as more data comes in from integrations. Just kind of nice and slowly kind of comes into the overlay window with new data. So really nice kind of new look and feel to how the overlay window works and how data streams into the overlay window. And the really nice thing about this now is that not only do we update kind of the animations that's here, we also made it really easy to add in more data to the overlay window. So before, after 100 entities within the overlay window, it would kind of fall off and you'd only be able to have 100 entities there. Now you can have up to 5,000 entities. So as an analyst, you can kind of have most of your day kind of sitting in the overlay window from what you've done, from what you've seen, upwards of 5,000 different things there. And the really nice thing is that around that is that we've always had this, we have this capability for a few years now, but it becomes even more prevalent now as you can export that whole your whole day, essentially all 5,000 of those entities. You can export that as a CSV, upload into your sim if you need to, or some other system, or transition to another person, add it to a channel. Whatever you may want to do with that data, you can do so now, and you're not just limited to those 100 entities. You now have those 5,000 entities in the window. So very excited about this. It's just kind of the new transitions as you're scrolling. You can see here it kind of has that nice lazy loading capability. So data will just kind of nice and neatly populate into the overlay window. So really excited about that new functionality. I know for our on-demand only feature before, it would kind of like flash at you a lot. Oops, I hit the wrong shortcut key there. It would flash at you a lot if you did have multiple integrations. And you can see here, the animation just kind of is nice and slow, populates into the window when new data is there. So again, just really excited about that new kind of look and feel with the window. It makes it feel much cleaner. And with that, I'm gonna kind of reload everything here and resituate my window a little bit and jump over to our new mode in what we are calling Polarity Focus. So what Polarity Focus mode is it acts is basically an on-demand recognition mode is a way to think of it. So you have our on-demand only mode where you can select entities, hit a shortcut key, hold Control-C or Command-C if you're on Mac, or you can, of course, just search for entities here, like search for Joe Miller. That acts as our on-demand only mode. So that's where you have a lot of integrations like VirusTotal or some of these string capture integrations like Exploit Finder, Yara Finder, GitHub. I'll get into a few of those in a minute, where we kind of look at all-encompassing strings. That's where on-demand only mode comes into play, right? Those integrations are only going to be on-demand only mode. But say that I have something where I can't use on-demand only on those integrations, right? I can't copy the text out. I can't get to it in some way. That's really where our focus mode comes into play. So as an analyst, I can hit, again, Polarity's very shortcut key kind of driven. The shortcut key for this is on Windows, it's Control-Alt-A. And on Mac, it's Control or Command-Option-A. So they kind of act as similar keys between everything, and it should work on pretty much any application. Is what happens is after I hit the shortcut key, you'll see that I have this kind of green screenshot cursor that comes up. So what this mode is it acts as basically a screenshot tool. So I get to say, hey, Polarity, I want to run recognition on this particular subsection of application or applications. You can actually run the recognition on different applications with this mode by selecting more than one on your computer screen. It will only work on one monitor at a time. It does not do cross monitor at this time. We are looking at that for a potential in the future. But right now, for the first version of this, it just looks at one monitor. It doesn't have to be your primary. It can be different monitors, but only just the one. So I have this. I can select whatever I want. Here, I'm just going to select kind of this source destination piece that's in Wireshark, let go. And then you can see that Polarity then took a screenshot of that, ran recognition in on-demand only mode for those different integrations. So here I'm just going to go in, kind of going to turn on some different integrations, show you a different use case for this. I'm going to turn on CyberChef and a few of these other kind of integrations I was talking about before that I'm going to highlight in a minute. So just give me a second here as I go through. Again, you can subscribe to integrations right from the overlay window, or you can subscribe to integrations from the configure Polarity window, really whatever you're comfortable with. I use the overlay window just because it works for me. Sorry, going through here. All right. So now that I have all those, I'm gonna jump over here to, I have some kind of a binary that I had already kind of set up for today. I'm just gonna use that screenshot mode, select this binary out, and then see what CyberChef says about this. So you can see that there's actually also a whole bunch of Google search results as well as one blog. But here I wanna kind of highlight CyberChef. So with that screenshot mode, you can see it did activate the on-demand only mode because that is just a random string of basically binary, right? Zeros and ones. We don't have a regex for those. It's just an all-encompassing string that CyberChef uses to get all the base 64 or those different encodings there. So I'm going to click into CyberChef. We have done a really cool update to CyberChef. I want to highlight here really quickly. If folks are using CyberChef and you're not on this version, highly recommend updating to the latest, where we have it set where you can have the magic function run by default. So you don't actually have to do anything to get the output of a base 64 or binary or whatever it is. And you can see here that I just basically was here in this route table, was converts AXI to binary. And I had typed in Polarity Focus mode, and this is Polarity Focus mode in binary. Just wanted to kind of highlight that. It was kind of neat. Kind of neat little thing. And then the blogs have actually found some very interesting blogs that I really won't go into. But blog is another one of the integrations that we have. So with that, I'm going to kind of jump back over to showcase this example of the CVE and really kind of highlight these Google custom search integrations that we have. So we have, I think, 8 or 9 of them now. And you can see here as it goes through. Is what it is Google has this API available, which they call their custom search, where you can basically specify a particular search that you want to run against certain websites. So if I want to search for exploits against known exploit websites, right? That's kind of where our exploit finder comes into play. So we have we look at things like GitHub, Rapid7. There's a whole bunch of other sites that we use for exploit finder to see if there are any known exploits out there around a CSV. And you can see here the CSV. It's a fairly popular CSV. There are definitely some exploits. So I can know immediately as an analyst, hey, this integration lets me see these exploits that are out there, know if there are any known exploits. So the Google custom search has allowed us to do a lot of things. We have integrations with now Twitter, LinkedIn, GitHub, Stack Overflow. We've created the security blogs, which just came out earlier this week, is now available on CE, where you can look for any string and see if there are any blogs that are out there that say anything around it. We look at things from like Tripwire, Bleeping Computer, ZDNet. There's FireEye. There's quite a few other ones. You can see here each of these options each of these integrations comes with the option to kind of tailor those searches down. But it's really like the Google custom search has allowed us to do a lot with different tools that are out there that has kind of expanded the capability for Polarity. So if anybody wanted to do this, it's super easy to set up a Google custom search. All you really have to do is go to Google. We have some documentation on our GitHub page. You can go to Google. You can set up whatever that search is you want. Then they give you this kind of custom search engine ID. Is all you need to do is that you can just use that and plug that into any of our existing integrations, and it will pretty much work out of the box for you. Of course, I would rename the integration and do all of that. And we are working on kind of a basic integration for this, but it really does allow Polarity to really kind of search for anything and provide that context analyst, which is really cool. So in this case of the CVE, we're getting hits from Twitter. So you can see that there's a whole bunch of tweets that were happening in early 2020. Of course, getting US certs. We have an integration that uses the Google custom search that just looks at US certs to pull back any alerts or anything that they might have published. And then we also have just a straight up Google search, which is kind of cool. It pulls back a little snippet from the Google search, which is kind of neat. And we also have an integration with GitHub in and of itself. So I don't just need to look at CVEs. If I wanted to look at code, if I wanted to look at what a function does or something like that, I could very easily do so. Look that up through GitHub or Stack Overflow. So wanted to kind of highlight from an integration. I know we've done a few community tech trainings on these, but really kind of wanted to highlight that whole Google custom search environment and kind of what you can and what could be done with those. So if there are any thoughts, anything people want to see, you don't want to write an integration, you want us to do it, please just let me know. At the end of this, I will kind of have all that data for you. But then to kind of circle back now to the Polarity Focus mode, not only does Polarity Focus mode run the recognition and kind of the on-demand only mode, but it also enables you to do a lot of really cool things with the data that we have. So in the mode that I'm in now, I'm gonna again take a similar screenshot to what I did here. It's gonna tell me there's information or not information. But the really cool thing, I'm gonna go to Google Pages here. I don't have Word or anything like that on this computer that works well, so I always use Google. And now with that screenshot and all the recognized text that was ran through Polarity, all of that is actually on my clipboard. So I have the ability to take that screenshot and that text from the screenshot and paste it somewhere else. You can see here, I just hit Control V, and this is all of that text and the screenshot that I took. So you could take a screenshot of anything. If I wanted to take a screenshot of the share button, I could do so, right? And you have that data, you can paste it somewhere. That's interesting. I thought it was EI share, but you can see here, there's that share button now. So you have the ability to take not only run a kind of on-demand recognition with Polarity, which is kind of a whole different way to utilize Polarity. It's really awesome. Ever since this has come out for testing, I've been using it constantly. It's one of the only ways to interact with Polarity now. It makes it super easy to just look at what I want to look at. But the really cool thing is you have that image and that text on your clipboard at any point in time. So you can copy and paste it into some other application. You can take the data and do whatever you need to do with it. So if you are looking at an RDP, for example, you're RDP'd into another system where you can't copy and paste data out of it, there might be some data that you want to actually get out. Maybe there's like a file hash or an IP, and you have to pull up another terminal to like type it in. Now you can just hit Control Alt A, have that screenshot, copy it. You have it on your clipboard. You can paste it wherever you need to paste it. You have the text. You can do something with it. We do allow in this mode for some kind of cool new different interactions. So not only can I can do this selected image and text, I can copy nothing if I don't want anything on my clipboard. I don't need to have anything on my clipboard. If I just wanted the text, I could say, yeah, just give me the text. I'm gonna go over here, just do the same mode again. Just gonna want to grab these few IPs, and I just want the text. I can just have that text that was recognized there. And you can see here, this is our full recognition. So these lines and that are basically the ins and outs of the Excel sheet that was copy and pasted. So you might have to do some cleanup if you are copying and pasting just from how our recognition mode works. But I'm gonna now do it where I want the image, or I just want the image. I don't want any text. I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna scroll a little bit here. I'm gonna go back here, run another quick screenshot. You can see here, super fast, super simple. And I have that image on my clipboard now. And then a really cool kind of side to this is you can actually annotate entities from Polarity Focus mode, which is kind of cool. So if there is like a lot of things I wanted to annotate and I don't have that copy and paste functionality and I didn't want to type anything, you can very easily do so. This is going to come into play a lot in the future when we'll actually take that image that was captured and add it as an attachment. So not in this upcoming release, but in a future one to kind of tease future roadmap a little bit here. We'll have the ability to add attachments as annotations in the platform, and the Polarity Focus mode will automatically do that if this is enabled. So now that I have it here, I'm just going to hit Control A again. I'm just going to select this one IP address. Oopsies. Going to clear all these. I have it saved to hold on to everything. So I'm going to annotate this one now. And the demo. There we go. Okay, there we go. And it takes that, adds that as whatever was recognized there as entities in the annotation window. This is off by default just because if you're using the mode a lot, it will pop up the annotation window all the time. So don't recommend running it unless you're really trying to annotate information a lot. So again, just want to kind of showcase the power of the mode. Take all that data that you have, paste it somewhere else, do something with the data if you want to do something with it. One thing I will mention about the images and kind of how we have to do it with encoding and decoding, the image basically gets pasted as HTML, so it won't paste in every single format. So what we recommend is if you are trying to do something with the images and you're trying to paste it into like a ticketing system and they won't convert HTML automatically for you, recommend pasting it into something like Word or something like that, and then moving it over into your ticketing system. Just because of how we had to do it across different operating systems, we kind of had to like copy it out as HTML. So it won't render in every app. Just wanted to kind of highlight that for folks. And with that, that is our new release. We should be sending it out to some customers starting next week. We always do phased rollouts of our new releases. We should be starting it either the end of next week or early the week after. We're just finalizing some testing now on Windows for the focus mode. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to see if there's any questions that you may have. I guess before I do that, I'll kind of pull this up here. So if there are any Google custom search integrations or there are any questions you don't want to ask here or you're watching this webinar later on, you can join our Slack community. You can always email myself. I'm just JOEM@Polarity.io. I'm more than happy to jump on a call, listen to whatever features you may have, any ideas you may have about roadmap or anything you want to see. And then from the integration side, the Google custom search side, if there are any things you want to see that would be really kind of cool and useful to your workflow, let me know. Again, more than happy to add that to our backlog. So you can reach me at JOEM@Polarity.io. And you can also reach our customer success team, customersuccess@Polarity.io. And now with that, I will turn it over and see if there are any questions. All right. Well, it doesn't look like we have any yet. And probably won't get too many. So if folks do have questions, again, just email me. You can ping me on our community Slack, whatever is easier for folks. Thanks for joining today's session. Glad you could spend 20 or so minutes with me learning about our new feature, and excited to get this in the hands of users and see what you all think. And hope you have a good rest of your week.